This week on RSBANDB Update, combat achievements bring projects new and old back to War's Retreat. We discuss the new combat achievement system, crazy achievement outliers, endgame progression, and our favorite combat achievements. Are combat achievements the new trim? We'll find out. This is RSBANDB Update, episode 1026, recorded Thursday, February 20th, 2025. 31 and counting. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of RSBANDB Update. Combat achievements are here, an update that a lot of people have been hoping for a long time, and we definitely have a panel that reflects that. So I'm just going to go in alphabetical order here. Bears, you're here. Welcome.
Yep, thanks for having me.
One of the folks around Update that does lots of combat-related things. We had you on for Zamorak release and Virago, amongst others. I know Virago's a bit of a sore spot for people, but we had fun with that episode. So we'll touch in with what Bears has been up to combat achievement-wise and Good Iron Man-wise. But also Pernasius is here.
Yeah, g'day. I'm here for the comedy relief. Everyone can laugh at my knowledge of PVM.
Well, I mean, we needed somebody who you know is that mid-tier,
mid-range
introductory PVMer. So, but also Thaxi is here as well. Who you in pre-show right before we began here, you described that this episode is everything that you love and you do with RS. So,
yeah, it's achievements and it is combat. And at this point, that's everything. So I'm happy to be here.
Right on,
and
of course.
Bears, you were on the Virago show 12 years ago?
Vorka.
Did I say Virago?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. We have Rockman on the brain.
Oh boy. Yeah, that was certainly a time. But Virago aside, I'm sure we'll talk about him in a bit later about what kind of achievements last there. Before we get into the achievements, I do want to give a big, huge thank you to our experienced tier Patreon members for whom without update would not be possible. This week, that's Amos Reed, Dominic R., Drama Free, Harry, Jason S., Jesse W., Kesky, Lemon Lunge, Luminos, Mr. T, Ricky A, Runestar, Oasis, The Naked Captain, and Tim. Big, huge thank you to all of those people. You'll be hearing more about our Patreon offerings a little bit later in the podcast. But in the meantime, if you want to follow along, full show notes can be found over at update.show. We also have a community Discord at update.show/Discord, and the Friends Chat. If you want to hang out with us as we do things, you can find that in-game at BitsBytes. All right, so no beating around the bush for this one. Combat achievements are here. I feel like this is something that the PVM community probably needed in the game here, just to have a different angle of PVM progression. I'll say. I think that's the thing that was looking for the most out of this, aside from any ambitions I may have. What does everybody say about that?
People have been calling for these for a long time, whether it is to aim to get faster kill times or to do different goofy achievements or just play the game a different way. They kind of hit these pretty well.
Yeah,
I mean,
and go ahead.
If nothing else, there's rewards attached to it, right? And there's a progression system where you can look at it and say, "Oh, I'm really close to this. This next reward. I should go and figure out some of these I can do," and that's encouragement to learn a new boss or get a new skill or practice, right? And so I think that as much as anything, that progression system for the early and mid part even is really good. I think the end game side of things and the achievement side of things as well is, we've needed that extra parity for the combat side of things for a while. But
yeah, how about you, Pern?
Good inclusions.
Yeah, I'm a very casual PVMer. I'm comfortable up to God Wars Dungeons 2. Araxor, I can do Telos, I struggle at and such, but it is it is something that I think is needed in game, more of these type of achievement things as more and more people reach endgame, and it gives people something to aim for, and some tangible rewards that come from it. I mean, myself personally, I probably won't really get many past the medium ones done, because even just looking at some of the hard ones, there's probably maybe half a dozen of those that that I could say, I'll be comfortable doing those. But as Thaxi says, maybe I am getting close, and thought, well, I'm going to push myself and just try and master this one to get those extra 20 or 30 points I need.
Yeah, and there's a whole collection of achievements too, in that there's multiple ways to get the points within the system. There's the speed kill achievements, which is fairly obvious, defeating the boss in a certain time frame, with ones in each different tier of combat achievement for how fast you go, kill count for defeating bosses certain numbers of times, and of course there's also the mechanical achievements, which I think are the most interesting ones, that are broken down in Jagex's design between unorthodox and perfect achievements. The unorthodox ones require you to complete the encounter in a specific unorthodox way, like maybe not resolving certain mechanics, and perfect ones are things like avoiding all avoidable boss mechanics, whether that be through using the combat system as it is, or just killing the boss fast enough that you won't see those mechanics. And I know that in the past has been something that came up for a lot of people. Well, if you are having trouble with a certain mechanic, just get your kill times faster. You won't have to deal with it. That sort of thing. On that,
I kept getting told, get good.
Yeah, and see, that's what I said this week too, is that I said this week was the perfect time for me to get good again, because I had to derust a lot from how I used to just walk through the park casually for hours on end at Raziel when I was going for log. So
sweat a little bit, get the napkins under the elbows.
I'd like to think that I don't go that far for RS. I'd like to think I don't go that far for RS. But one of the most interesting things about the system, and we'll get back to the actual achievables in a few moments, but one of the most interesting things about the system is that it's multidimensional in terms of how you get the rewards around it. And the thing that I want to bring up to this is a realization that we actually brought to Pern here, in terms of the fact that you don't need to necessarily complete all easies and all mediums to unlock the various levels of War's Blessing, because that's just tied to combat score. It might look as though that the best way of going about getting War's Blessing 1 is just to complete all the easy combat achievements, because they're worth 1, and then you go on and you add some more to that to get War's Blessing number 2 at 135. But the reality of it is that you can mix and match based on the combat score that each achievement gives. So you don't necessarily need to complete multiple tiers to get those different levels of War's Blessing. You can just work throughout the entire system, whatever you have available to you to be completed, which I think is really good, that multidimensional aspect of it.
Yeah.
And I think what you bring up in terms of being able to skip some is really important, right? There's some mediums or some hards that are really challenging, but you might be able to do some of the elites instead, right? And you could use the points from that elite being, each elite is worth 2 medium tasks. So if you can do elites, if you're good at, one particular boss you're comfortable at, you can really kind of plump up and skip some of those earlier ones if you want to get those reward unlocks, which I think is a great system. And I'm glad that that's how they did all of the gameplay rewards. And if you complete the entire tier, you just get those cosmetics. And I think that that's a cool prestige thing to say. You see somebody with that necklace, you know the achievements that they did to earn that. Versus if you see somebody with the rewards, you know that they are X amount good at combat. I think that balance for things is really awesome.
Yeah,
and that's what I was going to say. Like one of the medium achievements, which is defeat all Dagonoth Kings solo within 5 seconds. Now, I've done that on my main, but I had Elite Void Knight armor, which is for me, switch a hat, switch a weapon, bang, easy done. Void Knight armor is not available to us on Iron Man mode, so for me that's going to be that to me is more of an elite task than sort of a medium task. But I can choose, one or two of the hard tasks to get those extra points, and then not have to sort of think, there's one task I can't do, so I can't unlock the reward of doing God Wars Dungeon 1 without the kill count. Yeah, nice. which is a big one especially for Iron Man, and especially trying to hunt the different things that you need. It's a great one. So being that the points for the actual rewards are tied separately to completing each one, which is a cosmetic, I think they've done really well in that point.
Yeah, and I think that also leans into the thing that if you have a selection of bosses that you're good at, and these bosses, might not necessarily be like, say, an easy or medium tier boss, then you have some good benefit with that in terms of if you're able to just go somewhere and hunt that down. Which I think when you factor all this in, it really raises the question. The achievement types that you have and the way things have been structured, I think it makes sense most of the time. But one of the things that we were talking about was the fact that there are in these cases there are some outliers, aren't there, in terms of what goes into each tier, depending on your perspective. Or is it on perspective, or how do we feel about outliers in general?
I think my opinion on this might change as we go through, like, Group Environment, and I have lower level account with less gear, those kind of things.
Yeah.
But at least for the main, like, there were a number of things where, like, I could get 6 achievements at once and get all of the speedrun tasks, including the normal mode speedrun tasks, for, like, at some of the God Wars 1 bosses in hard mode, which has more than twice as much health. And then I could beat the best hard mode speedrun task by more than less than a third of the time. Like, there's some that they really, like, they called it an elite task, and I look at some of the other elite tasks, and I'm like, I don't know if I can just walk into this without any knowledge of the mechanics and just kind of yeet and get the entire set of achievements done. And at the same time, like, some of the things like the Yakimaru feats being on elite, again.
That's the one that I went to first, is that those are elite, not master or GM.
But, like, all together now, just killing all of the Yakimaru pools at the same time. I have struggled with that on 2 accounts. That feat in particular kicks people's butts. And that, to me, being like part of the elite achievements is a little crazy. But even the stuff like Perm was talking about. Go for it.
I was going to say, I would have liked to have seen, like, the group bossing stuff start at elite and sort of not at hard, just because I don't group boss. So a lot of those hards are just not going to be done by me.
Rots, I think, is the biggest offender there.
Yeah.
The Rise of the Sixth one. And you can duo. I'm here to tell you can duo all of those, because we got the duo, the perfect kill for Rots by accident in duo yesterday.
But still, it's a group boss, which duo, 10-man, 100-man. I like solo. I like to rely on myself and fail myself. I don't want to fail someone else. So
that's fair.
Those type of things, to me, it's. I wish they had have just made any group bossing sort of elite and above. That's just a personal thing.
What about you, Bears? You feel? Have you run into specific things that you feel are maybe look like outliers in terms of their tier, up or down?
A little bit. But to go back to the team thing, like, the issue with that is a lot of these bosses get significantly easier in teams. So like if you make it a master achievement because it's in a team, well, that kind of turns into an easy achievement then. So I mean, I know like Solak times are faster the more people you have. Usually, Zamorak's the same way. So you kind of have that little balance with that. But to go to the Outliers, the funniest one to me is in the Elite. Is it Elite or Master? 1 second. It's in Master.
All right.
You scroll down. I'm looking at it. I'm like, oh, I have this one. We've come so far 300. I'm like, oh, defeat a Raksha 300%. I'm like, oh, that was pretty easy. I did that a long time ago. Like maybe the rest of these Master ones are pretty easy. And I look up two spots and it says defeat Virago solo. That is not
defeat
on the
Hard
same
Mode Duo directly next to it.
Yeah, like those are not on the same level at all. Like, I mean, I seriously did 300% Raxor 6 years ago and basic Tectonic and a Noct Staff. Like, and the power creep since then has been insane. And now, I mean, Virago Solo is probably doable if I took the time to do it. I think I could do it.
Burn it.
I don't really want to do that, but for something to take as long as it would for me to learn Virago Solo be worth as much as something that I did when I was basically just learning PVM in pretty bad gear as of now is kind of funny to me.
With all of the extra people who are kind of eyes on with these achievements, I really hope, and I know Jagex isn't great about revisiting their already released content, but I really hope that some of the combat mods, because they tend to take ownership of their content, I really hope that they're looking at the percentage of people who complete each of these achievements, because I understand that the argument that like they're supposed to be variety of difficulty within each tier, right? But there's some things like if you look and like there's a singular achievement that 20% less of people have completed in a tier, like, or 20% more of people or more, I feel like maybe you want to think about where that should really be placed. And I hope that they're kind of taking a look at the numbers on some of these, because some of them are there's some outliers in here that I think could use reshuffling maybe later. And I don't know how much work that is.
Yeah, and you know, they have a substantial number of people in the company who work on the game and also play the game at that high level of PVM, that when you look at that, you realize that they're going to be providing their own input in a more direct way for that. And then you also, of course, with that have the streaming and YouTube community, people who are going to be going for that and highlighting, you know, what is maybe too easy, what is, you know, a little bit difficult in that regard. Because I think as well that these combat achievements on the whole are bringing a new set of eyes to the combat system with where we have it today. So Outliers and where they land, I think, are something you're going to kind of have to feel your way for. But I think your example there, Bears, of having a Raxi 300% and Virago Solo in the same tier is definitely something on that. So are there any other grandiose outliers maybe on the easy end that we want to highlight here, or you guys want to move along?
This might be the wrong group to ask about easier outliers.
Yeah, that's fair.
Just because a lot of the achievements elite and under are things that are very much within the, like, we're not going to have too much challenge for most of those, I think, for like Bears and I.
Yeah.
At least I haven't so far.
I'm the one, yeah. And as I said, I mean, for myself,
no,
well, as I said, the only one for me in the medium. I mean, the easies, yep, beautiful. They got those. Yeah, they were done. Anyone can do those. Moving into the mediums, yeah, my main will be able to do them. It's got max gear, it's got, you know, max stats on my account here, which is more mid range. Other than the one that I mentioned before, the Dagonoth Kings 1, there's not going to be any real issue. But getting to the hards, I might be able to complete 30 or 40% of them on this account, and I'll struggle a lot with my main account.
I think Extinction Event is another outlier that's on the hards, and that's killing all the matriarchs in 5 seconds.
I think that's something that Zerdone's mentioned.
Because it's a tank test as much as anything else that is going to be interesting.
Yep, that's
like
one of the ones I thought
or something.
Not even my main could do that, So
we'll see.
Yeah, as you said,
also,
I hope they do revisit. But hey, it is something that's in there. I mean, the rewards are really nice, but they're a bit of a time saver reward. They're not like game breaking rewards. So if I can't get them, well, I can't get them. But yeah.
As a brief aside on rewards, there's one thing this week I really wish, it would have been nice to have access to Nex and the Iron Man without having to kill things, but I get why that system is in place, given the ancient ceremonial armor and everything.
Yeah.
The one thing I really wish was on the achievements that isn't, or on the rewards, is access to the elite dungeon bosses without having to do the full elite dungeons. I don't care if I get a quarter of the reward. Just give me 1/4 the chance for an elite, or for a unique even. Just, if I... Getting in to do those bosses and getting through the dungeon to catch up to them, especially if I mess up an achievement on Seiryu or some of those where I have to go through the whole thing again. It's not that it's hard; it's just time consuming, and I don't wanna.
Right, and I mean, what they did with Zamorak and Sanctum, why not?
And
I would love it if they would
the quality of life stuff that they did for God Wars Dungeon 1 and 2. So I kind of like that
actually.
as well.
Either remove all the ads or give me something like the Sanctum of Rebirth where it ports me from boss room to boss room and just give me significantly worse rewards. Give me 1 scale every time I kill Siri. That's fine. I'm down. Just give me the ability to do those achievements without having to waste hours on potentially messing up.
Pern?
Being one tick off.
Yeah, one thing I did want to ask, with these rewards, the first reward is the portal in the Barrows. Brilliant reward.
Yeah.
However, don't you get better rewards if you kill 6 of the NPCs inside the dungeon before you enter the room?
Specifically, the combat level of the NPCs adds a modifier to the drop chance of common loot, not the Barrows loot. So your Barrows loot is the same regardless. If you kill common loot based on the combat level up to 1,000, and I believe it's 1,028, total combat level of monsters killed in the tunnels increases the number of runes, bolt racks, barrows, totems, etc. that you roll on the non-table.
Which,
so
I mean,
those still worth.
Those were good drops in 2005, not so much today.
Exactly. Although runes are always nice for Iron Man.
yeah, fair.
And the hard Moria Diary reward gives you double runes, and you need barrows totems if you want to kill rots. So again, Iron Man stuff. But the thing with that is you can just go back and forth through a door, because every time you go through a door, it spawns one. So just go to the chest, then go back and forth through that door 80 times, and just kill 20 ads and go.
Yeah, but after you get in there, if you use that teleport and you try to go out to kill the creatures, you have to put in the puzzle again to leave the room.
Only if you do the second door. So if you go into the hallway and then go back into the chest room, you don't do a puzzle. The puzzle's only on the outer door of that little connector.
Yep.
There's 2 doors.
Well, I was trying to go out there to just kill, because there's 10 or 12.
Oh, sure. If you're killing the minis, then you do that before you take the portal, I guess.
Yeah.
Does the portal go away if you don't use it? It should
No,
right?
It stays there, but half the time you've got to run through that long tunnel around to the other room and then come back. So
I think the portal is on the whole better, but it is. I kind of thought they would just unlock all the doors, and for what you're doing, that might be better. I don't know.
Yeah,
it would be nice if they unlocked all the doors as well.
Yeah, I'll just stick to not killing the minions, because it's so quick anyway. So
that discussion on rewards and where that goes, that kind of goes to no, that's fine, because then that takes us into the entire look at what the community is doing here on this, because what you have at this point, and you are able to see after you look at each of the combat achievements that you have completed, each tier, you're able to see how many have completed that tier of achievement. So right now, as of recording, 13,116 people have completed the easy achievements, because that's the one that I can see for where I'm at. Either you have medium done?
There are just over 3,500 people who've completed medium, so the number drops off significantly. I'm guessing it's just a few hundred for hard, and we know that exactly one person has completed Grandmaster.
So
amazing.
And I think that's good for what we have in terms of getting people into combat, because that was the other thing I was looking for with the combat achievements, was I was waiting to see where this would land in terms of difficulty, right? To see if this could be a way to get more people into combat, to be an on-ramp for it.
I think it definitely is. I think
it's got
both the bottom end
for sure.
And the top end as well. I think the best example I'm going to use for this is the hard mode Zamorak leaderboards, because that's kind of all we have at the high end. I think at the early end, like that progression of being able to say, I want this reward, the reward is right there. That carrot is awesome. And it's not a huge carrot, but it's like the fact that it's there and you can get it, I think is really cool and will push people. As long as they don't get fed up, I worry that people will get to the mediums, like get to one achievement that they get stuck on and be like, I no longer want to do this because I'm not going to be able to do my grind. Like, they get walled by something really hard and it deters people. But regardless, it should get people in and trying it, right? Even if they decide it's not for them. But I think the Zamorak thing is interesting because if you look at the solo Zamorak leaderboard only right now, there are 249 people with 4,000 Zamorak kill count, or 4,000% Zamorak kills in solo. It's not a huge number of people who are like able to get there on their own. And then if you look at people who are over 4,000 who would push past that, it's only like 75. So I worry that like if you look at how many of the achievements are solo, like you mentioned, for like the Master and Grandmaster, I do worry a little bit that like there's going to be a lot of those that are like there might only be a couple hundred people with those, and as a prestige reward, maybe that's totally fine.
Which I think is what they wanted. Some people might say that that's locking things behind the wall, but you look at
the special name badge and all the things it is a prestige symbol for sure,
right? And we don't really have hard, difficult rewards like that in RS3. Compared to old school.
I think this comes down to like the types of players, and we'll come back to this in a little bit in terms of the like endgame progression. But I think you look at like the skillers, the killers, and the chillers, right? It's the classic MMO distribution of people. It's like people who want to like be competitive and do combat, the people who want to grind, and the people who are there for the story and the adventure, right? And those are the like you're kind of breaking out of things. And we have like quests and lore and fun achievements and clue scrolls and all that stuff for the chillers. The skillers are, it's RuneScape. This is your game. Welcome. We love you.
Yeah.
And the killers have not had as much in terms of like a system to say,
exactly,
this person is amazing. They've had the golden titles for, or initially it was the golden title for, or the title for, mauling hard mode Virago, or the outfit from that, and then it's the golden warden, golden like the enraged boss titles. But now there's actually it's very visible on a character if they want to.
And maybe this is where Bears comes in, because what was like you were doing before Group Iron Man? You had a group of people who you would go to Zamorak with, and you guys would just chill there. And I think you said you chilled around 500%, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Is there any desire, you think, to get that group together here and to go for some of these achievements?
Not really. 3 of us are in our group Iron Man together, and the 4th one, he just joined a group and like this week and started playing his group Iron Man. So I think we're all kind of focused on that. And like the ones, like the higher level ones are kind of insane times. Like it's like a 4K for basically the same time, that maybe a little bit slower than what we were getting at 500%. And we're just like,
you're not going to do that.
Kind of nuts. Like, and like, again, we weren't sweating doing these kills, but it was still like they were relatively good kills, and they're still just way too slow.
The Enrage boss speed kills are, I will say, they seem pretty aggressive. That's the only one I've not, the only elite I've not attempted that I've actually skipped speed kill wise, elite and below so far, is the Arclaysor 500% in under 5 minutes. That one, I looked at, I'm like, that's a little, I don't know that I want to grind this when I have other easier low-hanging fruit. So I'm going to come back to this one. And I think I've skipped like 4 achievements total. But that is one of them that I've done. That's elite or lower. That's like,
And this gets to something on the system side that we've been dancing around too, is that I would love it if there was a way in the game, inside the beast menu, to see the achievements for a specific boss. Rather than, needing to go to the wiki for that.
The interface is good. It does list all the bosses in your percent done. You can hide the bosses you've completed 100%, which is nice. I mean, it's like green logging for old school is the same idea. But I kind of wish that you could sort, like they have in their menus, you could sort and look at them. The menu's a little clunky. I agree with that.
Yeah, and you can then kind of get an idea of where things land. Like if you look at the Carapac achievements, for example, here, the lowest difficulty aside from just counting kills on Carapac is the is hard tier, because the lowest not rune score, combat score you get from those is 3. So. That's what I've been using to kind of look at these to see, where they land at the various boss, difficulty tiers. Like Calfight Queen, for example, has just easy and mediums aside from the kill count ones.
I think if you look at the the kill count achievement, because the kill count achievements are granted a difficulty as well. You can see each one is like. You can see where they think the difficulty for that boss is, kind of based off of where that kill counter achievement is. At least the easiest version of that boss, right? And in the case where hard modes have a separate kill count, you can see what they considered the difficulty on for that. It's like, double check me. Does hard mode Virago have its own kill counter achievement? It should. Because I'm willing to bet that is probably one of the, like, that might just be master, actually.
Right, and see,
yes,
no, it's elite. It's elite.
Right, but what I'm wondering
is, an elite.
Is if we take Jad, for example, I'm on the number 5 version of that. I've killed him 61 times. It doesn't. It has the generic rune score banner behind it.
If you click the show completed button at the top, you can scroll down and you can see. The one you've completed will have the correct icon.
Oh.
For, I believe it's 5 or 10 Jads.
Oh, yeah, 10. There it is right there.
Yeah. Perfect. And that should be, I think, a medium? I'm guessing that's medium.
It's green, so that is
medium.
That is medium,
yep.
Yeah.
So, that's something that is...
Okay, so that's a bit of a roundabout way of doing it, I guess.
And if you look at the list is almost entirely in order. So if you start at the top of the list and work down, you complete all of the easies and then all the the
right, because Mole is first.
Yeah, they're not by release date order, but they are roughly by difficulties. Zamorak and Solak are the last 2, right? The first ones are like Mole, KBD, yeah. So it gives you kind of a sense. Arclaysor is 3rd, and obviously that has a good number of harder ones as well. But it is, Zero Mechanic Arclaysor is an easy task.
Why is Hermod after Vorkath?
Vorkath is another one that is out of place. We're going to ignore Vorkath. We're just going to move right past that.
Yep. As people like to do, just ignore Vorkath.
This isn't a perfect system, okay? This is that if they wanted to sort it by difficulty, they did it in an approximate job.
All right, fair enough.
So,
anything else on tier distribution or completion rate distributions in general?
I definitely want to take some time to talk about the tier distribution across the different bosses.
Yeah, okay.
I spent a while going through all of the achievements and looking at how many achievements there were in each category for each boss.
Hang on. So you're saying I can just query your brain at the moment, like I can query ChatGPT on this, and you'll know?
I have a list in front of me of everything with a notably high number, yes.
Okay.
So, like, as an example, if we start at the top with the Grandmasters, because they're just the easiest, there are Zamorak and Virago have 5 achievements. Telos has 4 out of the 44. Everything else has 4 or less. So every other boss has 4 or fewer Grandmaster achievements, which makes sense. It's out of 44 total.
And those are the bosses you would expect to have Grandmaster.
Right. Zamorak, Virago, and Telos are good candidates for that. For the Master achievements, out of 92 total, everything has 5 or fewer except for Telos at 6, Solak, Zook, and Raksha at 7, Zamorak at 10, and I want you to remember this number, 13 at Angel of Death. There are 13 Master achievements at Angel of Death.
Why are we remembering that number?
I will give you a spoiler. This is the second most achievements in a category held by any boss, is 13. From AOD at Master tier. We're going to skip hards. At mediums, everything. There's a lot of bosses that have like 5 to 7 medium achievements, but there are 8 at Karapak, 10 at the Ambassador. Wait a second. Nope, that's wrong. Those are elites. Oh yeah, elites. This is where I wanted to go next. Sorry. There are 8 elites at Karapak, 10 at Ambassador, and 11 at Solak. Again, like everything else less than that, but like it gives you an idea that out of 172 achievements, the cap that any boss has is 11. With one exception that we'll come back to. For the hards, out of 173 achievements, you have 7 at Veraclith, Furies, and KK, 8 at Vermix, 9 at Rax, 10 at Rots. So you have the most you have out of all of the hard achievements, 173 achievements, you have 10 at one boss. I want you to guess, I skipped one boss in the elite section. Can you guess what boss I skipped that has more achievements than any other boss?
At hard? Or just in general?
Elite. At elite. Which I'll tell you that it's elite. Elite has the boss with the most achievements at a single tier. What boss do you think it is? Okay. Hint.
Do you want to go ahead?
It is.
Yeah,
it's
give
the
us
boss
a hint.
with the most
Virago?
mechanical challenge in the game.
Yeah, Virago.
Virago. Yes, absolutely. Give me, with a reminder that Angel of Death at 13 is in second, what number of achievements do you think Virago has at the elite tier? Again, 13 is second place.
34.
How many Virago?
22.
34? 22. You think that 13 is the highest out of every boss at every difficulty tier, and they get up to 34?
Sure.
I'd say 50.
It's 31. Virago has 31 elite achievements.
Well, like
31.
Correct.
with
There
how
are,
much,
if you want,
I gotta start a write-in campaign and get David back to the game because that is his boss.
if you did 0 other combat achievements at 0 other bosses, and you completed only the elites, none of the masters, none of the grandmasters, only the elites at Virago, which elite is the easiest difficulty he has, which again makes sense. You walk out of there with 124 combat points. You almost have the medium combat achievements at
31?
a single boss in a
Wow.
single tier.
wow.
124
Sorry,
points.
I counted them myself.
That is insane.
Part of me though thinks that
That's
makes
more
sense
than
though.
double.
With like
Oh yeah.
with how much stuff is going on at Virago and like how many different weeks you could go. I mean, you can't even sit there and do it in one session unless you're in a group with someone that has the pick the
A week's
Virago
done.
week. Yeah.
Yeah. It is well deserved. Virago is the king. He is the best designed boss in the game. He is the most complicated boss in the game. He uses the combat system almost better than anything they've ever released, which is crazy to say. It is deserved, but it is nuts to me that
Yeah,
he's like 2.5 times the second place.
Yeah,
in
taking the
terms of
context out
distribution
of it,
things.
it is kind of crazy. Just looking pure numbers, that is wild.
And
Do you think some of those
the-
could have been moved up to the next level?
the master, the thing is, he actually just has that many mechanics that doing them all right and then doing them all wrong gives you those numbers, so that if you want to get perfect and unorthodox kills on hard mode, you actually do need to do like 15 achievements each.
Okay, so
those
so
are all.
it's
Yeah, their eligibility based on usually a single phase, although there are some funny ones that when we talk about notable achievements, there are some funny ones in the Virago out of his collection that I think are hilarious. But with that said, the other side to this, kind of moving into maybe a slightly different discussion, is each of those elites is worth 40 rune score.
Right.
Which means that just the Virago elites are actually just worth 1,240 rune score. And like for folks that like don't, keep track of this, because why would you? The maximum rune score in the game before these combat achievements released was around 33,000. Like it was in that range. So like getting 1,200 rune score from a single, if you do all of his achievements, getting like almost 2,000 rune score from a single boss is a little bit crazy. Our elites are 25 points, so I take that back. I take that back a lot, actually. Need to redo that math. He's about 1,000 points total. Virago is like just his elites are about 700 and some. But it's the rune score bloat this week, I think, is a big thing. So like when I had most of these done, I was missing 3 or 4 like odd old combat achievements and a lot of.
I thought you were going to say you were missing 3 or 4 of the Virago ones.
Honestly, I would have been, because I did get my 100 KC Virago, and I would absolutely be like eligible for all of those elites had they been existed in the game when I did that. Because some of those are funny, and I definitely did some of the funny ones. But no, so like I had most of these done when I logged in on Monday. I had lost one of the skins off of my rune score pet. Like I dropped from like 30,000 and some hundred change down to like 29,500. I lost a little over 700 rune score just from the achievements I'd already completed that got changed. And as we'll note, the current max rune score looks like 42.5, 43,000.
Okay, so they added about a quarter of the previous rune score on top of what we had.
Which is a little crazy. I feel like the carry discords are doing really good money this week because they, all the people at the top of the leaderboard that maybe weren't experts or really great experts in combat now have to figure out,
where are we going to go get the rune score? Where are we going to go get the combat score now?
And, at least I know a number of the ones, especially at those harder tiers, are doable in a group. So you find a really competent group, you might be able to get carried to some of them. So I have a feeling those are doing reasonably well given how much rune score is in those. With that said, it's also like a matter of, and when I first thought of this, I'm like, oh my God, that's so much rune score change. That's crazy for the game. The rune score leaderboards are going to be all over the place. Like I kind of rebelled against it. And the more I think about it, the happier I am with where the rune score has ended up for this. Because if you look at like just the combat achievements and you compare that to the achievements that are in the tabs for like, say skilling and area tasks,
right?
Like the area tasks are largely skill tasks. If you combine those, that's a pretty similar amount of things. If you combine like exploration, lore, and activities, that's like pretty similar as well. So you've got the skillers, killers, and killers at the same level.
And that's what I wanted to bring up. What I noticed too here this week is that when you look at that combat tab and the achievements thing, that is a large number. But then, like you said, you combine that with area task and skilling, that's still more ahead. So it's not as though that, the game just became inherently more combat focused this week. It's just that it's getting a
each of those
lens on it.
Kind of trifecta player types actually get, 10 to 20,000 rune score available to them now, which is, I think it's good. What do you guys think about like kind of the end game and the progression and the recognition and like the reward side of this from all that? I guess is my biggest question.
I'd like to see perhaps they could split that rune score into 3 divisions and then have an overall. So I can look at the ones that are important to me, which are the non-combat ones, so I can see my achievements in those other
multiple
areas.
Leaderboards. Multiple high scores would be pretty cool. No, I agree with that.
Yeah.
See, for me, this sort of gameplay's never really, mattered for me. I've never chased achievements before on a game. I've never gone for something like gamer score and whatnot. So I'm not the kind of person who would, be concerned about this. Everything I've got, like the 21,000, close to 22,000 rune score I have, it's just come naturally over time. But it does raise the question, can RuneScape be a game that after you've exhausted everything that you've done in terms of your skilling and, basic, combat gear buying stuff, after you've done all that, can RuneScape be a game that you can chase achievements for comfortably without, getting too overwhelmed by grind? Because the reason I say without getting too overwhelmed by grind is because, you look at Master Quest Cape and some of the Trim Cape stuff, that fits squarely into that category. And I think the combat people are going to be having fun doing this.
Yeah, I mean, I've always been that that only maybe 1% of the players should be able to achieve that trimmed comp cape, especially as it is only a cosmetic. You should know everything and master everything in the game.
So I would say that's one of the things I think this does well too, is that the trim comp is for like the chill people, the achievement hunters and the questers, and that it's you've looked at all the things in the game, and then you get the master skill cape at the 120 all, which is for the people who want to chill, and the auras, the new combat auras, seem to fill that niche for me. That's the argument I would make for that.
Yeah,
is that comp is just misnamed. Maybe comp is actually just like the adventurer's cape, not necessarily completionist of all three styles of the game anymore, right? Because there's very little combat on comp. There's boss kill total for the wars unlocks, but and maybe it's time to think about pushing. I don't know. It might not just.
Well, that's one of the things that I've been really adamant about that the game needs. I've been really adamant that the game needs more horizontal progression stuff like this. And I think if we look, forward in time about 2-3 months from now, if we still see, a substantial amount of people going for these achievements and not, just having everybody all, done. And if it's able to, draw an audience on, say, Twitch or YouTube with that, then I think that is a success. And you don't necessarily need both of those because both are unique measures of success. But I think that if you can, in effect, get people to log in and play the game and have fun without having new content, that's a win. And then that's something that RS3 has needed tremendously over time.
Yep.
I think as guides come out too, people who are less experienced will have better things. I know there's people that are already planning to do a guide for every boss, how to get each of the achievements at that boss. And I know there's plans for people to do whole series for my progression of getting all of the combat achievements done, even if that's mostly the master.
That's a really good idea.
There is content that is planned, that is in the works by people already for those things, and I'm personally really looking forward to having some RS3 content that is kind of series and episodic like that. I'm hoping people stick with it.
Yeah, and see, that's the thing, is that you don't know you need these sorts of things until they arrive. But okay, so that's the progression angle. We're gonna go into some of the achievements that we like personally, but I do also want to thank our Patreon supporters this week. I'd like to thank Alvaro L, Amos Reed, Arvid L, Brayton K, Jule Burra, Dominic R, Drama Free, Duramax, Gila Floor, Hair A, Jade Gizmo, Jason S, Jesse W, Kesky, Lemon Lodge, Luminos, Mongrath, Mr. T, Pernasius, Ricky A, Robbie D, Runestar, Samuel FL, Scott DS, Shirt Pants, Sioaces, Targayen, The Naked Captain, The Dabbing Goat, Tim, Ukulele Steve, Woody, Zant, and Zazakon. Big, huge thank you, everybody out there. It means the world to us. Head on over to patreon.com/RSBNB if you want to learn more about our offerings. We offer 3 tiers there. Starting for as little as $1 a month, you'll get access to an entire back catalog now of 75 plus monthly bit episodes. You also, of course, with that, get the ability to vote on monthly bit topics and the ability to attend the roundtables, which will be back in March. Next month is March. I thought we were already in March and moving on to April. Wow.
RuneFest has got you.
Yes.
You're ready?
Yeah, because that's what I was actually going to say, is that there's going to be a bit of a special monthly bit this month that's going to be posted. We're going to try this. Look at the behind the scenes of RSBANDB Update at RuneFest for the monthly bit. It's going to be a bit of a hybrid one, pictures, video, a bit of audio, but look forward to that. I'm going to try something different with that one. So if you want to see that, sign up, patreon.com/RSBNB, because I'll be there, Sirion will be there, and we'll have a bunch of other people who have already reached out to me that will be meeting up with, in addition to all the Clan Quest and RSBNB stuff that's happening there, but more on that later. We also do have the VIP tier, where for $3 a month you'll get a Discord rank and access to a special chat channel and access to high-quality stereo versions of the podcast, in addition to everything else. And for $5 a month, you'll receive a shout-out on the podcast each and every week and gain exclusive access to the clips that we use to make the clip show each and every year. And of course, we also have the experience tier right now, which is full, and the brainstorming part has begun for what the next experience tier mail out will be. Those people get that. The people at the top of the show we mentioned, for the support they give. But a big, huge thank you to all of our Patreon supporters. Thanks so much, everyone. Patreon.com/RSBNB.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Notable achievements that we find, that are just good. Maybe things that are a bit odd. Bears, you want to go first?
Yeah, I got my favorite one. I'm actually really excited to do this at some point, and it is Bomb Disposal Unit. So already a great name. So it's at AOD, and a team of 7 or fewer get a kill after placing each bomb in the center of the arena. So if you don't know AOD, in the final phase, she'll put a bomb on your head. You have to bring it to the center to defuse or to delay it, and then you have to go put it somewhere else on the map that it'll start then exploding every couple seconds. So you usually place it or defuse it or whatever in the middle, and then you run to one of the corners that you'll not be at and place it there, and then you just don't have to worry about it. And it's always a troll move, and it always happens once an hour. Like someone accidentally loses track which bar is going, and they accidentally place the live bomb in the middle. And it's a little annoying to deal with, but it's doable. And so this will be placing 3 or 4, maybe 5 bombs in the middle, all kind of exploding at their own interval. If you aren't timing it right, I mean, you can possibly time it so they are going off at the same tick. But that seems like so much fun, and it just brings me back to my AOD hours when, if we're grinding it for a night and we do 2 or 3 hours in a row, and it was the same 4, 5, 6, 7 of us all going again. The last kill of the hour, we're like, all right, it's a free for all. We're trying to get it's a PK kill, boys. Like, we're trying to kill each other now, and it just it just brings me back to the days of just chatting with the boys and trying to kill each other in the RuneScape. So yeah, I'm super excited to try that.
Oh, that's a great one.
There's a second layer to that too, which is that you have to survive placing the bomb in the middle.
Yeah, exactly.
So when you go back, you have to get into that field with the bomb in the first place. Then you have to leave and come back. So you can't. It's not even like you can barricade. You may have to have a second person barricade and intercept you in order to place that bomb in the middle of a stack of other bombs that are doing 3,000 to 4,000 typeless damage every few ticks.
Yeah,
it is. You have to coordinate trolling this hard, and I respect that.
I think your best bet is just kill the boss as fast as you can and try to skip it, and only try to get 4, maybe 3 or 4 bombs, but still, that's still tough.
Nice. For me, I don't have anything that's absolutely as insane as that, unfortunately. Mine come from my experiences this week, both looking at the combat achievements for both Raziel and Carapac. Let's just say that there is one at Raziel that asks you to stand still in Phase 4 for 45 seconds and kill Raziel successfully. And for people who haven't done that boss, you'll note that Phase 4 is tremendously made easier by moving around to avoid the bombs that he throws out at you. So the idea typically, and one of the hardest things for me when I was first learning out and figuring out how to do Raziel, was figuring out how to both move and, fire off my combat abilities at the exact same time. And, lo and behold, here we just have an achievement now where you're just asked to sit still for 45 seconds and kill him and absorb all that damage. And it is a boatload of damage, to the point that some of the strats that are recommended for an opening of that Phase 4 involve using Reflect and a Vitality Potion to boost your life points so that you can have that extra damage reflected back at him with that. And, you line all that up. At the end of the day, I'm thinking, like in best case scenario, you go max out with that, you are looking at what? I think it's like a 16 or 17 second barricade we have if you fully max out how much you can bring with that. So
plus immortal, plus yeah.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to be playing with defensives.
Yeah, and see, that's not something you would normally I think to do at Raziel, because the kills are already long enough after they nerf that necromancy stuff down in the first few weeks after it arise, to the point that one of the elite achievements that's out there for that is or sorry, not elite, the red ones. Which ones are the red ones? One of the hard achievements is completing the kill in under a minute. So
oh, that's Grandmaster. Yeah, that or Master. That's a Master achievement. The orange one.
Difficult in that regard. And I guess just the other one I'll mention in passing is that there's one that asks you to do Carapac without using the Time Warp ability, which, is something that is a unique feature there to reset abilities and ultimates and whatnot at the start of phases 2 and 3 and into the final phase for that. So.
Which is how I got my kill at Carapac, because I didn't know about it because it was hidden under another part of my interface.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure I've gotten that one just because my kill was my rotation was so bad that I didn't ever think to use it, and I was struggling to stay alive in a duo or trio.
Yeah, and see, that's the thing. That one can probably I'm just looking at this here. It says defeat Carapac. Yeah, it's so that's a hard mode one in particular. With that one. So and
some fun ones.
And that's
getting hit by all 3 lightning waves at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah, which you can do if you're blind on that. I bet Tannis would have that one done.
You gotta stand in the middle.
Also, when it comes to these sorts of kill time achievements, I'll note as well that they split it out between solo and group, of course, for completing them. So the Carapac ones are definitely solo for 3 minutes and 2:15. But Perrin, how about you? Notable achievements?
Yeah, I mean, not really notable, but just sort of a fun one in my easies and mediums, which is all I'll really be doing. The Glutton for Punishment, where you have to take in a variety of different familiars and let Corp eat them. Just one of those little fun things. It's not going to get your kill counts, it's not going to get your rewards, but just, hey, come and eat all these guys. Because it's funny, when I first went into Corp, I took in I didn't realize that he ate them. And, I took in a pack yak of sharks at the time, went running in there and going, where's my yak? Why is all these sharks on the floor? And realized, you can't take that. That was my very first solo attempt at Corp, but, years and years ago. But, sort of those type of things. It's, that's right, he just eats those, because you know automatically now just not to take anything. But just, those type of things I like. Oh, yeah, I like those little, the Killer Axion bronze and those type of fun type challenges. Not speed kills, not, just cop all this damage. But
unorthodox.
Let's try something a little different,
Taxi, what do you got?
I want to briefly mention a couple opportunity missed, just to, as a side note. I think like there's an achievement at the Furious hard mode where you have to bounce a fireball back at them, and like in a typical kill, you actually don't even see it. It happens relatively late on. But it hits each one of the Furies for about 6k damage, and I'm kind of like, especially for a lot of the like past achievement stuff, like they would have had you like kill the Furies with the blue fireball attack would have been an achievement, and I'm a little disappointed that it's just you have to hit them and then kill them as a separate thing. You just have to have it happen during the kill, and they did that with a lot of these achievements where I think they kind of like simplified it up, partially because of engine considerations and time constraints and stuff, maybe. But there's some things that I feel like are a little opportunity missed like that. I want to complain about the Extinction event being a hard achievement because killing all of the Rex Matriarchs as a tank test at the same time is gonna suck, especially if I'm trying to keep them low health and not kill them. I am annoyed at that one. I think they... Anyways, in terms of like good examples though, I think some of the favorite ones I have are actually among those 31 elites at Virago. Like one of those achievements, which again is required for the unorthodox kill, you have to do this with a group of people doing all the other ones, is hit whenever Virago does a reflect. So in 3 of the phases, he'll pick a person and reflect all damage that comes into him at that person instead.
Right.
And they can pray against it and do all the normal things to mitigate that damage. But one of the achievements is use an ultimate on Virago during the reflect every time. So, like, it's kind of a meme that, like, oh, shoot, I just omni-powered my tank. In this case, you are required to omni-power your tank.
I was wondering if there was going to be any of those sorts of troll achievements out there for things like Yakamaru and whatnot, because I think it was that on my first or second Yaka kill with you, didn't I get somebody killed?
Oh, probably.
Yeah. So
everyone's done that. We love Yaka.
Yeah, it's Yaka.
So I mean that would be another thing there, but it doesn't look like we have that in the Yaka category.
No, they really did keep the raids just the feats, which fair enough.
Yeah, fair enough.
And speed kills.
All right.
But yeah.
We also, of course, have the War's Blessing unlocked, which we briefly touched on earlier, but I want to go through in a more complete matter right now, because I think you look at all of these here. Obviously, the cosmetics are the one-dimensional aspect of it for completing each tier. But honestly, I think War's Blessing and what you get from that is where the bulk of the rewards are. And we already talked about the idea of having quicker access to the central bit of the barrows, reducing kill count at God Wars Dungeon 2 to effectively 0 if you've completed the reputation there. No kill count required at God Wars 1. But I think that some of the most interesting things that come from these Wars Blessings are the ability to choose both the Rise of the Six rotations, the Araxor rotation paths, and also the paths at Virago that are open. That's one aspect of it. But let's also remember that if you complete War's Blessing number 4 and you complete everything, which one person has done up to this point.
Many people have done this. Many people have gotten War's Blessing 4. Only one person's got the Greymaster.
Oh.
Master and Greymaster are not required for War's Blessing. What we're looking for is all the points required for the elites.
Okay,
so
that's
Master
not bad.
Greymaster, you get subtract tasks from before that. Yeah.
I didn't math that
it's
out.
spreadable.
But I was going to say you get the War's Ancient Weapon and Armor gizmos, which are the same sort of costless things we got after the login lockout, which I think is just a nice cherry on top for this.
The extra Marks of War and the increased cap to Marks of War for the hard and elites is also going to be really nice, because that's like
nice.
Those are aura like the bosses that you're doing at those tiers of combat. Typically, like you cap out on Marks of War in like 15 to 20 minutes a lot of the time.
Yeah.
And being able to get the extra like aura refreshes and like life refreshes, haha, we never use those, smile, is really nice. You effectively earn a life refresh. Also, just that I have made good use of the 30-minute Sign of Life cooldown this week.
Yeah, that's really nice too.
I thought you said you didn't use those. Oh, that was the refreshes you don't use.
You're saying it.
Oh, I definitely use those.
He
That's
was saying it
Oh, okay.
sarcastically.
we never die, Shane. We never need to use the life refreshes. What do you mean?
Right, yeah. All you got to do is see the rust
Right.
that was in place on me in particular this week.
Oh, me too.
Yeah.
I want to take a hot second to just big shout out to Omega for being so patient with me. We did all of the ROTS achievements and most of the Kelphite King achievements, but particularly the speed runs, the highest speed runs for both. And oh my gosh, those bosses have so many mechanics that are complicated, and I have not done them in so long. Having to like relearn those, and even when we were skipping most of them, the patience. Big shout out. Because holy smokes, I used those signs in a few of those kills.
Overall, I think when you look at what we have here, in terms of unlocks, the achievements, and what this has put on the path, I feel like this is a system that we can grow with, right? And I think, and my hope is that this will serve for a lot of people as an on-ramp to PVM. So if you're in that position where you're considering, getting going with the easies or the mediums, and it propels you into further ones, let me know. I'd like to hear about that sort of story, and just what this sort of thing has enabled and pushed people to do. Because I know from my witnessing of the old school combat achievements that you look at that system in that game, it's something that a lot of people rally around, and it kind of also provides the part of the underpinning for the league's temporary limited game mode that happens once a year and just leaning into those things whenever that comes around. And the combat achievements in general seems to be a very popular pastime for old school players. So I think having something like that now for RS3 sets us up on a path that just lets us lean into this one aspect of the game much more than we were doing just a week ago at this point in time.
And equally with that, I speak for myself and at least Shane, possibly Bears and others, but if you are stuck on something and you want to like bounce ideas off of somebody or have somebody look at something or anything like that for combat wise, let us know, right? Send us a message, find us on Discord. Lovely plug for the RSBANDB Discord.
Yeah, just tag any of us in here.
We're happy to do that.
And we'll get to something on that.
Even though I can help you through all those easy ones.
Yeah, you surprised me. And that's something we also have to say, is that you did all the easy ones this week, not on your main, but on your GIM.
Yes, yeah, I haven't actually logged into my main to do any of them yet. I've got to set aside a weekend where I'm just going to go and smash out a whole lot. But because I've just got so much I want to do on the GIM account, and
right.
I mean, I want to get War's Blessing too. That's my big aim at the moment for GIM, just to be able to go in. I mean, it's. The kill counts aren't hard to get, but they're just annoying because it's like, especially if you have to duck out, Krill, I can do that blindfold. My hour there is no problem at all. But Grador, pretty much the same. But with the other two bosses with the gear that I have, I can probably do about half hour before I have to go and sort of get a bit more food and top up. Then you've got to go back and you've got to get another 40 kill count, and it's just an annoyance, like the giant mole having to run from room to room. It's just an annoyance, So having that is brilliant. And I'm looking at number 3 where you can choose rotation of Araxor would be nice, but none of the other things on there really. Yeah, that'd be nice to have, but doesn't bother me at all.
We need all the rotations anyways.
Yeah. That's it. So, but it's going to be. Yeah, I think they've done, and coming from someone who is more of a skiller, an all rounder, as I said, casual mid-level bosser. I think they've done a brilliant job. There's a few that I would sort of switch, maybe put up into a harder category as such, but other than that, I think they've done a really good job with this.
Right on. Bears, closing thoughts, if any?
No, it's kind of echo. I agree. I think they did a pretty good job. It's kind of fun to. My kind of plan is get a new Reaper assignment every day and then go through that
Yeah,
boss's
that's good.
achievements. And be like, all right, it's Krill. Let's go see what Krill achievements there are, and let's knock those out. And that's kind of a slow way to knock it out, but seems more efficient to me.
Just a little shout out to everyone there. If you do the Krill ones, I always kill him. I never use prayer down there. The two of the achievements, you must have your prayer on to get them done.
Oh, we're going to Telos today. I just got the Reaper assignment.
When you get the third Blessing of War, you also have a 35% chance to choose your Reaper assignment. So the extra Death's Choice there does, especially if you reroll once or twice, like you're pretty likely to be able to choose the thing you go to pretty quickly, which somewhat ruins the random plan.
Right. So what are you choosing then, Bears, if you get Reaper's Choice?
Yeah. Something new.
Yeah, something new, I guess. Well, whatever I'm feeling, I guess. I don't really know.
The Gate of
We'll cross
Elidinus.
that bridge when we get there. I was just looking. What are those achievements?
The Gate and Croesus are not part of the system.
Oh,
yeah, they're not on there. I wish
that's
they
what
were.
I've been stuck on my group Iron Man there, and
No, because they're skilling bosses.
Yeah, they really should be part of the system.
Yeah.
It's not
but again, these are things that they can add down the track. You know,
I think they should have achievements, even if they're in a separate system and they're in like the activities section instead. Like I just wouldn't be able to, like whatever, but they should have achievements.
Yeah, I can imagine there'd be lots of fun achievements you could do at Croesus with everything we talked about in the last hour. So
unorthodox Croesus would go crazy. It's how hard can you go without failing?
Yeah. Patch notes this week: completing a 200 kill streak at Telos and Archglacier will be now more accurately reflected within their boss pet examines. Existing combat achievements have had their eligibility and failure messaging added, and existing combat achievements will no longer trigger in practice and story modes. I feel like that's a big one. That's a big one.
There was a glitch with a Zilyana achievement that a bunch of people have that is Sunshine Through the Rain that I thought was glitched to obtain, and I need to follow up to see how that's doing later. But.
Okay. Virago is no longer susceptible to Death Touch darts.
Boo!
You can no longer
it's the only way I can kill him.
Yeah, it kind of stinks, but that would be such an easy way to cheese all of the mechanical achievements because you
exactly. I could just go through and do it all, and I'd be able to say, "Hey, I've done the Virago ones."
all 31.
Yep.
Orthodox and unorthodox. Here you roar.
5 darts, 5 waves, bang, 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 bang. I'm done.
Virago's destroy tank ability no longer persists on the action bar after leaving the borehole. And completing all the achievements for Daredevil within a single attempt will now grant the golden Daredevil title.
Not just one attempt. You can't bank during or between the kills, and nobody in your group can die. Quick reminder, that means doing Yakimaru fully twice, ending with 9 people or your group number -1 people poisoned, and killing all the pools at the same time while one of the people who is poisoned holds a jellyfish. That's gonna suck. That is not a Master Combat achievement.
No. No.
Anyways.
And some changes to the when arrows. Icy precision, damage and hit chance per stack, lowered to 2% for thresholds, ultimates, and special abilities from 3% for each one of those. Following and this is the dev note on this, following combat modernization, when arrows saw an increase in power due to icy precision interacting with special attacks. While we like this interaction, this resulted in a power increase that landed ranged ahead of all other styles. To remedy this, we're tweaking these numbers to bring ranged more in line with the other styles. Somebody on this podcast was right about this when these arrows came out, weren't they?
I wonder who that could have been. From the yapping I've heard at War's Retreat this week, they are still And the Bolgar still best in slot. It's just less of an outlier now. So we'll see. Again, I'm not really qualified to say exactly where these land. I'm just qualified to say, yep, they were strong when you released them. Smile.
Yeah. And I know
crit changes made them better.
And I know, Bears, you had the Bow of the Last Guardian and whatnot. And were you a user of these at one point, or did you just go the easy route of full?
For the most part, I just use full arrows, but I did know that these, if you are taking the time to max out their usage, they were better, but I'm not that kind of player, so.
Yeah, and see, that's the thing. I think whenever we were talking about when arrows, it was always a question of, how can we, fully extrapolate all this out and, build those, tick perfect rotations to capitalize on these. Yeah. And that's not something I necessarily want to do. So there you can, and it shows as the result of this patch, but when arrows be strong still today.
Yarg.
All right. What have we been doing in RS aside from combat achievements? Let's do a bit of a group Ironman check-in with you, Bears. It's been a while. How's that going?
Going pretty well. 2415 is my total level.
Nice.
Got 99 defense this week, so that was pretty good. Working towards 99 invention. My team, we have 3 of us just kind of constantly doing Gate of Elidinus until we get the Memory Dowser. As a team, we're at about 600 kills.
I will race you to see if I get the vacuum before you get the Dowser.
Well, I went ahead and I got the vacuum just so we could make it a little bit better. But that doesn't help with porters. So yeah, and then we were helping our one guy train up archaeology to get there. But yeah, we're doing pretty good. It's been still fun.
Everybody's still going strong for that?
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, there's a pretty big gap between our top 3 and our number 4, so it's about 500 levels, and then another 300 levels to our 5th. But they still play. They're active. They're not as efficient, and they don't play as often. That's not a big deal. So
happy for the company.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and I mean, as long as everybody's having fun at the end of the day, that's what really counts. As long as you're
exactly
like, if you're like, I can understand if you're like pushing for top 10 or something. Maybe you want to have everybody firing on all cylinders in regards to that. But I mean, for a group like yours, why not just go the way you've been going with that?
Yeah, and it was kind of fun when we the 3 of us unlocked invention. Our total levels skyrocketed, right? And we jumped from we're usually consistently right around 170 to 150 is where we usually are, but we jumped all the way up to right around 100.
Right.
And now that all the other teams are starting to get at least 3, maybe 4, maybe even 5 people with invention, we're falling right back down to right now we're 168, which is still pretty good. I'm happy with that. So
totally.
Yeah.
Right on. How about you, Pern? I know it's just been combat and group Ironman stuff, and you were here last week, but fill everyone in.
Yeah,
or were you here last week?
I was here last week, yes. I've been doing a lot of krill. I've got 308 kills at krill, doing around 50 an hour. As I said, it's a boss that I know so well from a main that I can pretty much do it blindfolded, even with sort of basic equipment. No subjugation parts in 308 kills.
Oof. 3 times
what?
I've got one God Sword Shard is the only special drop that I have had there. I've got nothing of anything else. No gloves, no ward, no spear, no. I think the drops a steam or a mud
battle
staff. Yep. None of those. So 308 kills and not a single special drop.
5.7%. There's a 5.7% chance for you to go that dry. You're welcome.
So yeah,
I'm sorry.
No. When I get down to the one, I'll make the top 1%. I'll be the
Please
account that's had the driest streak. But still, it's a lot of fun. Just chasing those and working slowly on getting sort of all the levels to complete tasks. One of the hardest ones was obviously I've got to get up my strength and attack. So I got myself a crystal halberd. And sort of spend an hour down in, if I can find a spot, down in the abyss, just AFKing that.
One thing that was suggested to me,
through.
if you wanted to be really sweaty with that, bring your main in and have your main sip an aggression potion and just suck everything in and do that after you have the spot.
Ooh, yeah. Yeah, no, that's one of the other things I've been trying to do, like my Slayer. I hit 95 archaeology, and I'm going, this is getting a bit close because I wanted Slayer to be my my first, not archaeology, necromancy.
Yep.
Yeah, so I'm still 130k away from 90 on Slayer. Still haven't had an abyssal demon task using Morvran now. But he gives a lot of creatures that are out in the wilderness. But I thought they were pretty much, other than the dragons, all aggressive out there. But things like the water fiends and all those, like he gives nearly 300 water fiends. I go, great, I can just go and AFK that sitting out in the wilderness. No, they're not aggressive.
Well, as soon as you can boost to kill creatures, we can make aggression potions for you at least.
Yeah. Well, that's what I want to get. I really need to unlock. I think it's 92. I need for the lava strikes. Once I get to there, it'll be good. But also, I've had 2 tasks at Desert Strikes and still haven't got the helm piece from that yet.
I bought the Jungle Strike Worm mask. If you really want to push it, you could go buy the Abyssal Demon's mask.
Well, that's what. That's why I'm sort of I'm pushing those to get the Abbey Demon's mask. But again, my thing is an hour of sort of sweaty stuff at a time, and then sort of just AFK the easy stuff.
Back to the chill.
Yeah, every few hours I'll go and do that, but. Just still having so much. As I said, I haven't even logged onto the Pern account to do my combat achievements, because I'm still having so much fun doing this.
Yeah,
which shocks me so much.
Well,
I thought by now I would be bored, but no.
Go ahead, Taxi. What have you been doing?
Honestly, a lot of dailies on the GIM is mostly what they've been up to. I have been sitting on a set of quests for forever. Like I am still 5 levels away from Periphthenus that I just need to go do dungeoneering, but I have access to like Void Stairs back and Fate of the Gods, so I can technically go, and I only need like a couple hundred more charms to get 81 summoning, so I'll have access to Muspa. And then that'll also be Nomad's Elegy, so I'm getting to the point where I'll have, if I do all the quests I currently have available, I'm up at like 420 quest points, a little higher. Blaze. So that's getting exciting. Like we're getting to the point where the quests and the unlocks are a lot of XP and a lot of like big unlocks, which is really exciting. I just need to actually go and do the darn things. But kind of like Pern, I only have so much time and energy right now to spend on being attentive to the game. And I'm spending that all on getting combatist masteries and pushing through a lot of that kind of stuff. So I'm on both accounts to some degree. So I've been a little bit off kilter. I feel like I used my last set of necromancy weapons because I made I think 5 or 6 sets, and then I've been deconning them as I hit level 10 because the weapons are pretty easy to make. The armor a little harder. Especially for the tier 80 90 stuff, but for the weapons, you can make tier 80 90 weapons without too terrible much work. But I got like 94 to 99 necromancy, so I got my first 99.
Damn.
Yay, shiny cape. Off of just making another 8 sets of tier 90 weapons.
Holy cow.
So those will get
94 to 99 with 8
sets
like
of weapons. Day. The XP rate on these kind of remarkable.
Wow.
So that was my Tuesday, I think. Or no, that was was that over the weekend? Was that last week? No. It's early this week. Was that was Sunday before, I don't know. It was sometime last week I did that.
You've got the I mean,
Brain
you
gober.
obviously made the invention machines to just break down all your maples, didn't you, to give you the simple parts? That's what I need.
I have a singular tier 1 disassembler, that's going, and that goes through like 5,000 maple logs a week, and I only get 3,000 from Kingdom if I have, full stack on herbs and half stack on logs. So I actually am not, but yeah, I have more than enough charges at least. I'm actually short. I've been short on base parts, but that's easy. Just go to the White Knight Armory for 10 minutes and do some alking for boss drops while I'm there, and that has been sorting me for those. But yeah, that's been fun and interesting. But my invention is up to 76. I am on track to have access to alchemic onyx and alchemic hydrix within the next couple of weeks.
Very nice. That'll be.
And my herb lore is 96. Got that on Tuesday as well. So we have unboosted, able to make overloads once I get to Prif again, because I want to make them all into combo pots.
Our best bet of us finding Torstals for the group is to get me up to 80 and 90 necromancy with the associated weapons and set me off at Raziel. Well, 95 in
the other thing is BGH. Big Game Hunter drops a lot of all of the herbs we kind of need, like Lanterdimes, Dwarfweeds, and Torstals. It drops them all in herb form instead of seed form, but it does drop pretty good volumes of them, and we're all three of us are kind of approaching that hunter level.
Yeah, and see, that's the thing I want to get to.
For Shane. So.
I want to get to that, but I want to get my 70 attack and strength first for that, because that's just been something that's a bit
the problem with that as well. I've got it, but yeah, I went down there, and just having a single surge was really hard.
Surge and dive as well.
I can buy dive, can't I?
You can use it. You did the quest to unlock
Succession.
it. You have it. I saw you get that quest.
Yeah.
So why isn't it? Where's dive then? I thought.
Dive comes from a quest. You're thinking of bladed dive that you buy from the store.
Dive is it a hit points ability? No, it's just in the melee tab, isn't it? Yeah, it's just in the melee tab right next to Hurricane.
That's why, because I don't have the melee tab open. So that's why, because because it was on the other one. Oh, there it is there! I've got it! Okay, let's just chuck you down to there. Oh, God, I'm an idiot.
We love it. Hey, so that'll make your life easier when you go back.
That certainly will. You can go into there. There you go. I might do some Big Game Hunter on the weekend.
Bears, I don't know if you're back, but we just found out that Perd was thinking he was going to go for bladed dive, but he had succession done.
Yeah, I heard that. That's a good one.
I'm old. Okay, forgive me. I'm an old man.
Bears had a bit of an internet problem. That was his. That was just why I was welcoming him back there.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No, that's fine. You're good. We just went through the rest of what those two have been up to. But as for me, I finally got my dragons to adopt, so we now have a male and a female dragon, and those will get going soon, and we'll be able to fill the large pens in all of our farms with dragons. And as such, with that, I got 97 farming, and as soon as those dragons get going, combined with the Zygamites, we're gonna be cruising.
How did you get your
to
dragons?
99. What was that, Bears?
How did you get your dragons?
Pernacius went and farmed me 3 females, and then we didn't get a male, so we let them adopt.
Yes.
Gotcha.
I'm good at picking up females, not males apparently, and Shane's good at getting the males adopted. We did the same for the. Wasn't it the same for the yak?
For the yaks,
not the yak.
It was
Yaks,
the same for the
that's
yaks.
right.
Yeah, they were bad. I'm gonna I want to keep breeding yaks because I will want the yak milk later for the rune crafting.
I'm still breeding those
sorcery.
for you.
But and I want you to get as much of the farming XP ASAP as possible. I'll eventually want the perks from the big dinos, which is why I'm still leveling it and not taking that off of my dailies list like I so want to. But I will, when you've got all of your farming like perks and stuff unlocked, I will take your extra Elder Dragons to turn in for beans.
Oh yeah, that's a good call. That's a good call because I know
unlocks done.
I know you rely on that heavily. Those beans.
I mean, no, I don't mean for growth potions. I mean for the herbicide auto pickup thing.
Yeah, of course.
Like those kind of things. The chins are great, but each chin is like 150 beans.
No, that's slow.
No,
we're gonna get there eventually, but it's gonna take a minute.
I also did
better if you
underground.
hand them in at adolescent, but yeah, you don't get as much XP.
Yeah,
wait for the XP.
I also did underground pass and regicide, as well as Plague
try to
City
saw those pop up
and biohazard. I was wanting to do them, in relatively close succession, but I guess anything better or anything faster than 10 years is good, right? The time I waited.
I mean, you should be qualified for Morning's End 1 and 2, right? Like, I don't even know if those have requirements.
Yeah, but see, my initial idea behind this account was that I was going to do the entire elf quest line on one weekend.
Right.
That's what I did. It was not fun. Don't worry.
I love light puzzle.
I use the guide this time.
Yeah, that's fine.
Within the Light is one of the few that I love the puzzles in that quest. I just, for whatever reason, Within the Light just does it for me. The length is good, the difficulty is good. Like, I don't need a guide for them. They just make me feel like I'm smart.
My biggest roadblock in terms of getting to the Plague's End requirements is going to be that 75 dungeoneering.
Yeah, we need to maybe partner up and go dive into that. I think I can almost make party simulators, or if I can make them, I just need the parts for it. And we can get anybody who's free and go do some of the abandoned floors.
Yeah, but keep in mind though, my dungeoneering level is only 38 right now.
We'll go fix it.
We can run you through, yeah.
Yeah, but that'll be something that I sort out.
I mean, small run, the small room runs you're doing like between 4 and 7 minutes. They're not long. If you just do, as I did it, I was doing like 5 or 6 at a time, and then bang, and I'm at 77 dungeoneering. 76.
You were doing smalls?
For the lower ones, I do my last. Once I hit 20, I would do the last 5 at as mediums, but I just do small. Like once I hit 30, like up to 25, I would do smalls, and then do 25 to 30 as mediums. Now I'm up to 35. I run smalls up to about 30, and then just do the last 5 as mediums. That's solo.
Yeah, of course. Well, we'll see how that goes. At any rate, that'll probably be after RuneFest, with just how things look for that. That is happening in about a week's time. I'll be there. A couple of other RSBANDB Clan Quest people will also be there for that. And my plan for this is for us to do a bit of a get-together on the Sunday afternoon following the community stuff. And there will be a presence there for both Clan Quest and RSBANDB that'll be listed in the RuneFest program. So I'm to be told on that for the community day. So look out for that. But in the meantime, I will set up something in the update channel where I'll ping the RSBANDB update group. And if you are going, you'll register your interest there, and then we'll get a general idea of what we're looking for on that. So that'll go up after this episode is out. I know a few of you have reached out to me so far. I'm going to do my best to try and remember everybody who has and orchestrate from that. But that's what we can look forward to in the meantime on that. And I guess that brings us to show programming for this. There will be no regular RSBANDB update next week. What you can expect is that there will be a RuneFest episode sometime either late Saturday or sometime during Sunday or Monday in your feeds, depending on just how things go with the internet, because I can't necessarily guarantee what the internet stuff's going to look like on that. So look for a little bit later update episode next week. And the reason we're doing that is that I don't know if anybody else saw this, but if you go to the news post for this week and you scroll down to the little bit just above the treasure hunter schedule, it says 110 runecrafting will be arriving in Gielinor on March 3rd, just after RuneFest.
Holy smokes, 2 weeks out. Less than 2 weeks out. That's crazy. Let's go.
Yeah.
Wait, no, slightly more than 2 weeks. About 2 weeks out.
So I'm betting based on that reaction, you didn't notice that this week.
No, I mean, I smile and wave at the calendar. I don't look forward.
So
yeah, that's a week and a half.
I did see that one. Yep.
So 110 runecrafting
we were hoping it
comes
was
right
going to be a
after
special
the
announcement.
thing.
Yeah, we were hoping it was going to be a special announcement at RuneFest itself. So, yeah, the big pop, but they
I'm
let
sure
it go.
they'll do a live dev blog.
Oh yeah,
So
I expect.
we'll look forward to all the time that's involved with that, with the time runes.
Actually,
and whatnot.
RuneFest is next weekend?
Next weekend. Yep.
Yeah, first and second.
Okay. I'm like, it's not starting in 8.5 hours, is it? Am I crazy?
No.
Good. Okay.
No.
McShane's still in the Americas. Hold on, that's not right. Okay.
A week and a bit.
A week and a bit.
Okay.
We also do have 2 achievements this week. We have Euthanxy with 99 Necromancy that you already talked about.
Woo!
And we have Fight Caves with 120 Defense on February 12th. Congratulations.
Well done, guys.
Light week, huh? I guess everybody's waiting.
Everybody's been doing combat.
Oh, I mean, but also DXP.
Yeah.
We'll be doing a lot next week.
So this is a real question then. Is it wise then over DXP, if not doing combat stuff, to just camp RuneSpan?
If you need, okay, don't camp RuneSpan if you want. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's
But
AFK
it's not
if I'm
good
doing
XP.
something not AFK on the group Ironman.
Yeah.
Yes, then it would be
It's
wise.
I mean, it's
'Cause
still
you're
not
still-
good enough XP to make it worthwhile, in my opinion.
It's like 80 to 100k AFK, which is about a third of what you'd get if you were semi-AFK doing souls, or a little bit like a quarter of what you'd get if you were being aggressive at necrotic runes.
Right.
But again, if
Although
you
that's-
just look bang bang, yeah, it's nice and easy. I
kinda
I
take
don't
that-
mind RuneSpan.
The nice thing about the runespan is that it is multiplied by the DXP by 2 versus like crafting souls, right? For example, through the abyss, that is only multiplied by like, instead of the 3.5 multiplier from the abyss being doubled, it actually just becomes a 4.5 multiplier. It's additive.
Yeah.
So abyss rune crafting on DXP is kind of a waste as far as I remember, unless that's changed. Versus RuneSpan becomes marginally more efficient. So you could justify it. I don't know. If you need the XP, go get the XP, bro. Do what you gotta
but I
do.
mean, there's going to be other ways to train rune crafting after 110 comes out, I guess, and probably that'll be better.
They're almost certainly faster and almost certainly AFK if memory serves, although they could surprise us.
Yeah. But just a passing idea on that. All right. Pern, you have a pick for us.
I do. This is it's a season 2 show. The first season was a few years ago, called The Night Agent, and they released season 2 in January. 8 episodes long, typical Netflix show, but just really well done. It's about a FBI agent who was involved in a bombing. He sort of gets accused of being part of it in season 1. But by the end of season 1, he's sort of saved the president, and he actually becomes a night agent himself. And there's a leak and he has to try and work out what's going on for the season 2. And they actually just, I think a week ago, announced that they are going to do a season 3, which will be released next year. So not such a big gap between the seasons this time. But just good action, but smart action, if you know what I mean.
It's not Section 31.
No. Oh, God. Let's not ever talk about that one again. But, I thought they've done really well. The acting is good in it. A lot of new actors that you sort of haven't really, not a lot of big name actors that you see and everything else. Just a good thinking sort of action drama. That treats the genre pretty well.
All right, sounds good. Netflix, I see, is the main place that it's coming up. I assume that's global.
Netflix, it's one of their shows.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
So they finance. So Netflix all around the world. Night Agent season 2. Watch season 1 because it sets up the character.
Obviously, yeah.
There are only 8. Yeah, there are only 8 episodes each season. I watched this over a day and a half. It's one of those ones. Ooh, it ends on a nice cliffhanger. I'll just keep watching it, and AFKing RuneScape while you're watching it. It's really well done.
Right on. Well, that pretty much wraps us for this week. Combat achievements and otherwise. Of course, if you want the episodes delivered automatically to you, the best way to do that is to subscribe. Get that RuneFest episode when it arrives. Update.show/subscribe. All the podcast listeners, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Pocket Casts, and whatever you listen on. As well, of course, we're also on YouTube as well at youtube.com/RSBANDB. That's the video versions of the shows. I think that's everything. I think we got all the combat achievement stuff out of the way. Weird and wacky systems. Everyone good? Anything else?
No, just looking forward to Shane pitching a tent for RuneFest next week.
Yeah, I heard about that post show. I heard about that post show. Oh. Tannis and Pern just sat there in the post show and just they just let me go for it. Little did I know what that was referring to. We're gonna double check this week, of course, when we come up with the title and teaser.
So you don't want your opening line of beating around the bush as the one?
No, we're not doing that. But in any case, we'll be back next week for another episode of RSBB Update. Thank you, Bears, for being here.
Anytime.
And, of course, Thaxi, always good to have you.
Good to be back.
And Pernasius, everyone's second favorite Australian.
That is me. Happy Skype and all.
See you next week, everyone. Take care.